What's up, guys? It's Ashley Mountaintops back again. We are at the end of June already, which is insane. If you're counting in football terms, that means we have 3 months until I believe football season starts, which is exciting. The NFL regular season starts probably about a month and a half until preseason starts, thereabouts. So we're getting into it here. Of course, I'm joined with my awesome co-host, Jeremy. How you doing tonight, my man?
Man, the pleasantries never get old. I'm doing quite fine, thank you very much. And we are less than 11 Sundays away from Red Zone. So that tells you that we're well under 75 days ish. Say 72 to 70 days ish until opening kickoff. So we're getting close, man. We're getting close.
It's exciting. We're coming down the stretch here. I'm pumped. I'm already pumped. I'm excited. We're in the mood here. So we're going to talk about some fantasy football and why I'm so excited. We'll talk about in just a second. But first off, obviously, we're going to talk about some news. Not a whole lot going on, but there was some newsworthy things, especially fantasy football-wise, that we'll discuss real quick. And then the meat and potatoes of this week and next week. We did a mock starter draft. We did this last year, and it worked out pretty well. This year, we had 10 out of 12 teams represented, which was awesome. And the computer was not next to each other, which was good as well. That kind of backfired the last time. So we're going to do a mock starter draft I did strictly based off of my rankings, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, we had some news. Like I said, not huge news. Probably the biggest news is this Brendan Sorsby ordeal. It is now over. He is not playing in the NFL, so you don't have to worry about whatever you were planning on doing with your fantasy draft, because it doesn't matter now. He's not going to play. He's going to hopefully be in the draft next year. We'll see. So don't have to worry about that too much. Anything you want to say on that? I mean, I know we took like 15 minutes on it last week.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago or whatever, last pod. Explaining some different options and is he worth it and things like that. Well, now just cut that last part and save that next year and we'll be good to go. So your thoughts?
No, there's really nothing much more to be said. The whole situation's moot. We wait until 2027. He came out today and said he's not going to do anything weird about like filing charges to the NFL or anything like that in regards to the decision. And he reiterated his sorrowness toward his gambling. So it sounds as if that's the last we'll hear from Sorsby until 2027.
Yeah, you're probably going to see some highlight videos of him throwing in nobodies and working out in the gym and being a huge monster and stuff like that. So we'll see other than that. But, yeah, no football for him this year. I heard the CFL is even saying they're not going to take him.
Correct.
What my thought process would have been, I was like, well, why not try it? At least be on a practice team, like be able to practice with a team or something like that to stay in shape. But that's not going to happen. So looks like he's not playing football this year unless he's going backyard style, and that could be dangerous. So I would recommend that not happening. Next up, we have Ladd McConkey out of the Chargers. I didn't even know about this until I kind of did some research for this week's pod, but he had a strained hamstring during the offseason here, current right now. So if you had your Ladd McConkey shares, I don't think there's anything to worry about because it was kind of thrown under the radar, but I did find it in some of the newsworthy stuff that I was looking at today. So he does have a strained hamstring. Hopefully there's nothing more than that, but hamstrings can be very, very interesting, as we know from past experiences.
No, I believe he had I believe he mentioned it, that he had minor hamstring issues during the season. So to see that continuing in the off season, I don't want to say is alarming. I agree with you. I'm not pushing the panic button, but it is something that I'm putting in the back of my mind.
Quentin Johnson and Trey Harris might be more relevant than we anticipated. Just throwing that out there. So we'll see what happens. But he's really the only possession receiver that they have. They have like 4 guys who are just speed demons, which McCarthy makes sense. Or Mike McDaniel, sorry, makes sense. But he's really the only possession guy in the middle of the field, stuff like that. So we'll see if that if they end up finding someone else who, if this hamstring does linger, if there's anyone who we should be picking up just in case. Kind of like a handcuff for a wide receiver, which we don't see too often, but does happen. Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers hasn't played in 2 years, I believe. He is interested in the Commanders. Commanders have not said they are interested in him. However, so we will see what happens. He also threw his ex-agent under the bus, saying that it was all his fault that I'm not a 49er anymore. It had nothing to do with me. That's probably a lie, but that's okay. He's trying to save face, and I understand that. What was your thought on Brandon?
I think he's buried himself a hole. I think he's a modern day Antonio Brown, unfortunately. I think he's making some terrible decisions that's going to cost him some money and some decision makers. We'll see how it develops and see how it unfolds. But as of now, as of this pod, he's a 49er, and until they release him, he's going to be a 49er.
Yeah, and he's under contract, so if they don't want to release him and they don't want anyone else to have him, they don't have to. They just have to pay him. So, interesting situation there. Kyle Pitts, speaking of getting paid, let's talk about some good things, right? Kyle Pitts gets paid from the Falcons, agrees to a 3-year, $54 million deal. Not too shabby for the number 2 tight end on the year last year. Also, Brenton Strange for the Jaguars gets a 3-year deal up to $48 million. I was surprised with the number for Brenton Strange, to be honest with you. Not too far away from Kyle Pitts, but they really liked them. They also drafted 2 or 3 other tight ends this past draft in Pittsburgh. So the Jaguars like their tight ends and paid their best one.
Yeah, I have to agree here, man. The deal ended up being up to $48 million, like you said, and $25 million guaranteed. I mean, he missed some games last year, but he was definitely one of the top threats in the passing game, especially A, when he's healthy, and B, when BTJ was having his sophomore struggles. I think he's TE1, honestly, not league-wide, but I think there's definitely capabilities of being within that tier of tight end 1 capabilities, because there's really nobody behind him in regards to vulturing or anything in those regards. And again, he's already cemented himself as a top establishment in that pass game.
So you're saying Berkshire or whatever his name doesn't scare you?
You don't even know his name.
That was the point. They brought in a couple either depth pieces, if you want to call them, but mainly blocking tight ends.
But you don't pay
the run game as well.
You don't pay a man $25 million guaranteed and have him be vultured by Borkersher. Nevertheless.
No disrespect. You're in the NFL.
No disrespect whatsoever. Yeah, no disrespect whatsoever. But it's Brendan Strange's tight end room just as much as it is Kyle Pitts' tight end room. He got his $54 million extension, like you said, for 3 years. He arguably coming off one of the best seasons he had as a pro. So it was cool to see him get paid. New offensive scheme here, new coaching scheme, a coach that likes to build around and focus on his tight ends. And Kevin Stefanski, we saw what he did in Cleveland. So wheels up for Kyle Pitts, and just the fact he got paid doesn't mean anything to me. I think he still has a top 5 year.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's just scratching the surface. Was last year, and I think they kind of figured it out. Got a tight end favorite, I feel like, coach. No matter what who the tight end was, whether Njoku was healthy or not, or when they brought in Fannin, the tight end mattered. Now it could just be because Cleveland didn't have any other weapons on a wide receiver, but Kyle Pitts is definitely their number 2 or 3 weapon, depending on who you decide. Their pass catching wise, with Drake London and Bijan Robinson, of course, that 3-headed monster in the first round. There are 3 first-round picks 3 years in a row. Pretty good, sir. So it should be fun to watch the Falcons. Hopefully one of the 2 quarterbacks figure it out and are able to make this offense hum a little bit better for them. But, yeah, that's about the only news we got that we saw so far. I don't know if you saw anything else in your research or not?
No, sir. I think we nailed it. It's been a kind of a quiet, kind of a quiet week. Let's get to it.
Awesome, man. All right, so we're going to do our mock starter draft. This is a 12-team, 20 round. Yep, 20 rounds. Super flex, which is actually short for a normal starter draft. We just weren't going to talk about people in the 24th round. Like I said, 12-team, 20 round super flex, tight end premium, 10 starters. You got a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex options, which could be your wide receiver, running back, or tight end for those 2 positions, or the super flex, which adds in the quarterback as well, which normally makes it a 2 quarterback league for most teams. So we're going to get started here. And right off the jump, there's surprises, in my opinion, and we can either talk about them now or get to them when I get to my pick. It's up to you, really. You want to just start with the surprises now?
Yeah, let's run with it here, man, because that's what kind of opens up the gate.
Yeah, so obviously the first 3 picks were Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs. No quarterback. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate, this is super flex dynasty draft. Not one quarterback in the first 3 picks. I was shocked by this. And two of the 3 I know are in superflex leagues. I know one is in a bunch of superflex leagues. You can speak for the other 2. I was shocked there was no quarterback taken. I ended up having the 4th pick and ended up getting the best quarterback, which was kind of nice, in Josh Allen. What about you? Were you shocked as I was, I guess, or?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned it in regards to Josh Allen. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't go into the top 1 or 2. The other ones are just such dominant forces in their position that they rank arguably first in various mock drafts over quarterbacks. So, I mean, to see 1 or 2 go ahead of a quarterback, perhaps, yes. But yeah, to see Josh Allen fall to 4 was a little surprising because, again, he obviously is quarterback 1 due to several scenarios and several reasons. So I can let you take it away in regards to Josh Allen. But yeah, I'm in total agreement that no quarterback going in the top 3 was a little shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple for me taking Josh Allen. I thought he was going to be the 101. He should be the 101, in my opinion, in the Superflex League. So getting him at the 104 was like me getting a 101 pick for free. That was probably the easiest pick I'll make this year in whatever drafts I have, to be 100% honest with you. So I thought I was going to be the first one to pick a non-quarterback, and it backfired, and I ended up taking the best quarterback. So I guess it didn't backfire. It was great, but changed my strategy a whole lot going in. So then we had Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigba, the second quarterback, Drake May, and here comes the run. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, and then you were up at the 110.
Yeah, the 110, I had an opportunity that I have not had an opportunity in my real life scenarios. I had an opportunity to take the king of tight ends and Brock Bowers in a tight end premium league, and I did exactly that at the 110. Knowing that it was coming back around, and knowing that I wanted to take a different approach on this draft, which I can explain once we start going over the team, my strategy. But I wanted to capitalize on the tight end, especially with it being a tight end premium league.
No, yeah, absolutely. And there's only one other tight end that's even in his class. And a lot of people are saying he's barely in his class. So, I mean, you get the 101 of tight ends, which is awesome.
Right.
This late in the draft. So, the other
and
thing
he's
I want to
young, and he's in a great offense. So it's something that's going to give me a little bit of longevity. Again, we're not doing redraft here; we're doing dynasty. It's going to be something that's going to get me. It's going to be someone I'm never going to have to worry about that pending injury. I'm never going to have to worry about that position in a league that's a tight end premium. Not to worry about a tight end position at all is a nice focal point for me to have toward other positions.
So the other question I have for you, obviously Brock Bowers was a good pick for you. Where you were positioned in this draft. But right before you, there was a run of 3 quarterbacks. Were you surprised that they all went together, like I was, or like I have Drake May 102 overall. He falls all the way to 107. And then the other two, kind of where I thought they would go, but not really right with Drake May, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I'm not necessarily shocked in regards to who went where, and who went and when. It's kind of where in the draft that they've gone. Again, we're talking about the second quarterback on to 1-7 in a super flex. Like that's crazy. And now we're gonna have, as we see here with 3 in a row, we're gonna have these numbers kind of even out. So I'm not necessarily surprised that the 4 quarterbacks ahead of me are gone. I'm surprised that they went as late as they did at 1, 4, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so then following my Brock Bowers selection at 110 was Malik Neighbors at 111, followed by our next quarterback, Jalen Hurts, at 112.
Yeah, so before you move on here, we do the turn. We wanted to go through the first 12 picks again, just so you can kind of see who the top 12 were. First off was Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Jahmyr Gibbs. I took Josh Allen at the 104. Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba go back to back. Then we have the running quarterbacks, as we said before, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow. Then you take Brock Bowers at 110. Malik Neighbors at 111 and 112 Jalen Hurts. Anyone in the first round kind of surprised you that got into the first round?
Malik Neighbors at 111. Now, I want to asterisk this because this is one of our computer selections. But Malik Neighbors is coming back from an absolute catastrophic leg injury. And I understand the talent that he is, but to have him go before the likes of before the likes, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but our listeners know the NFL. You know what receivers have not been said. So to have him go ahead of these other ones is a little bit surprising to me. Again, asterisk, computer selection, but Malik Neighbors definitely does not belong in the first round of a dynasty selection, in my opinion.
Yeah, coming off the injury, that was the one that kind of caught me off guard as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown or CeeDee Lamb probably would fit better in that spot, in my opinion, or maybe even Genty if you really believe in him a lot. But I would have went with probably Amon-Ra St. Brown or CeeDee Lamb. But again, like you said, this was the computer pick, and that's the same one that I saw too. That was questionable in the first round. I know a lot of people are going to be like Jalen Hurts in the first round. I love Jalen Hurts. All he does is produce, and people just don't like him. I don't get it. So I thought that was going to be your guy to pick, but I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, so I probably would have taken him in that spot as well, to be honest with you.
I support that. I don't know if I necessarily support Jalen Hurts as – I support Jalen Hurts more as a fantasy quarterback than I do a real-life quarterback. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, he is a winner. He does win a lot.
Yeah, and he's done his Super Bowl and everything like that. Like we don't need to go into a Jalen Hurts debate. I think he's respectfully placed where he is. I would put him above the Lamar Jacksons. I would put him above the Trevor Lawrences. I think he being fifth quarterback, is it? Yeah, being the fifth quarterback off the board. I'm okay with that.
Perfect. And then I'll let you proceed with the second round, sir.
Sure. So we're going to wrap back around here. We're going to start with the second round being a 2-1, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to start off our second round. And to agree with you, yeah, this is where I thought he or CeeDee Lamb should go with Malik Neighbors, in agreement with you. But the 2-2 is our next running back, our third running back in the draft. It's going to be Alshon Jeffrey at 2-2. And then I go at 2-3 with the draft being a snake. And I grabbed the fourth running back in the draft, Omarion Hampton. Listen to me. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be one of the best running backs in the league this year. I think he's going to be absolutely lethal under Mike McDaniel. And the Chargers have slowly become this run-heavy offense. Harbaugh likes to have the run-heavy offense. And they have a fantastic quarterback in Justin Herbert. I'm not saying that they don't have that. So that's what makes the Chargers lethal, because you can stack the box against this running back duo, and then you can have Justin Herbert be gunslinger herself upon you, and it's game over. But Omari Hampton, and he's already gelling well in the McDaniel system. I just think he's going to be one of the best running backs this season.
I love it. I'm not as high on Hampton, and that's just because of all the weapons. But I do understand that there are people that are this high. So I love the pick. I love that Hampton being the second in the second round. If that's your guy, go get him. It's kind of how I look at it.
I like it. Yes. So then following me, we have CeeDee Lamb at 2-4, Lamar Jackson at 2-5, Justin Jefferson at 2-6. We have the next tight end and Trey McBride going at 2-7. And then we have Jeremiah Love at 2-8. And it bleeds into you at the 2-9.
Yeah, so right here, McBride should have been my pick, wanted to be my pick. I had him locked in as my pick. And then the computer decided to take Trey McBride instead. I ended up taking Justin Herbert. It was a 50-50 toss-up for me, how much I like Devon Achane. I had to go with the quarterback because he's only the, sixth or seventh quarterback taken. Again, didn't mean to do it, but happened. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, the seventh quarterback taken. And now I have a duo quarterback of Allen and Herbert, and I was ecstatic about that. But Achane was in the conversation as well for me on that. And one quick note before we move on, Justin Jefferson going at 2-6. If that's where he's going in starter drafts, can I have a starter draft now?
Exactly. See, that's, yeah, like to have my league neighbors go at 111 is, again, computer selector. But yeah, Justin Jefferson, I think, is going to have a bounce back year under Kyler Murray. I am one of the few in the minorities. I know you're on the bandwagon with me, but of Kyler Murray being successful in Minnesota and Justin Jefferson having a successful season, I'm gonna ride that wave all season. I think Kyler Murray does well in Minnesota, and Justin Jefferson's going to benefit.
Yeah. So one thing we haven't really touched on, and I know we're going through the starter draft, and we'll continue in a minute, is Justin Jefferson is not quarterback proof. He's just JJ McCarthy is his kryptonite, is what it seemed like. Because every other quarterback he's played with, he's been successful.
Yeah, the fill-ins that they had in for McCarthy when he was hurt, and I mean he had better games and better numbers. I'm not willing to write off Jefferson. It's easy to see like a Jamar Chase, who you could say he's quarterback proof because he's not been dealt with the quarterbacks that Jefferson's been dealt. Jefferson has been dealt far less superior, and Chase has been dealing with his collegiate quarterback here. So let's not forget that. So to have Jefferson have the resume of quarterbacks that he had versus Jamar Chase, it's hard to say that he is not quarterback proof. Jefferson, that is, until we see a little bit more consistent play and who he has thrown in the ball.
Yeah, but if that's where Jefferson's going, that's where, I mean, I understand it because there's so many good wide receivers out there. But, man, don't sleep on Justin Jefferson.
Agreed.
Unbelievable that he's going in the middle of the second round to me in a regular starter draft here. So, moving on. The 210 was Devon Achane, the one that I was debating between. Then Caleb Williams, the 8th quarterback, went. And to round out the second round, we had George Pickens. Flips back around, and that same guy takes Nico Collins. Not a bad pairing there. Then, 3-2 was James Cook. 3-3, Colston Loveland, the 3rd tight end taken. So one tight end in each round so far. And then I was up, and I took Drake London. Again, very surprised he's available in the 3rd round. I think this is a kind of a steal, in my opinion. So I was pretty happy with that. Worried about the quarterback situation, but I have faith in Penix, and we'll see what happens with Tua. Tua was able to keep people relevant whenever he had a couple years ago. So let's see if he can make that magic happen again. Then we had Jonathan Taylor at the 3-5, Tet McMillan 3-6, Igbuka at the 3-7, Garrett Wilson 3-8. The 4th tight end taken in Tyler Warren, another second-year guy, at the 3-9, and then you got your dude.
I want to say I panicked on the quarterback front, but I didn't want to panic on the quarterback front. But I just saw that there was at least a half dozen quarterbacks starting to go, and I was afraid that if I don't take a quarterback here, I have to take one on the next roundabout. But I wanted to have my selection at quarterback. I took Jackson Dart. I am a big Jackson Dart fan. I love his mobility with the legs. I love his arm, and he doesn't have necessarily the greatest weapons, but what he's going to be able to make do with what he has is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for Isaiah Likely and Jackson Dart to win me at least one championship this year. Cannot wait. If I'm wrong on that one, so be it. I'll take it to it, but I think Isaiah Likely and Jackson Dart is going to be one heck of a duo to have in regards to any type of fantasy format. So I grabbed Jackson Dart here at the third round for my foundation to be built at quarterback. After Jackson Dart at the 311, we have Ladd McConkey. And then to close out the third round is Christian McCaffrey at the 312.
Awesome. So real quick, we're going to go through the first three picks of each and just say, obviously you can't say yourself, even though that might be the case. I know it is for me. But you can't say yourself who your favorite is, but who's your favorite, and then who do you think needs work. So we got Bijan, Pickens, and Collins as a 3. Jamar Chase, Caleb Williams, and James Cook. Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, and Colston Loveland. I had Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Drake London. Puka Nacua, Jeremiah Love, and Jonathan Taylor. JSN, McBride, and McMillan. And then Drake May, Justin Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Garrett Wilson. Joe Burrow, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Warren. You had Brock Bowers, Amari Hampton, and Jackson Dart. And Neighbors, Genty, and McConkey, or Hurts, St. Brown, McCaffrey. What build do you like the best so far?
Right now, I'm liking the build of. This is tough. Excuse me. But I'm liking the build of Team 2 with Jamar Chase, Caleb Williams, and James Cook. He's drafting James Cook at the absolute peak and prime of James Cook's career. We're going to have James Cook be involved in the passing game as well a little bit more this season from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing from camp. So we're going to have James Cook be a little bit more of a versatile weapon. Caleb Williams is coming off of one of his best years of his professional career under a great coaching staff, and he is arguably some of the best weapons that a quarterback has in the league. And Jamar Chase is wide receiver 1, in my opinion. I think he's the best wide receiver in the league. And to build your foundation around Jamar Chase is a great way to do that. The one that, in my opinion, I think needs quote work is the one not to beat it with beat the death here, but the team of Malik Neighbors, Austin Genty, and Ladd McConkey. I think there's some injury history there that is going to be a little bit concerning in regards to Ladd McConkey and Malik Neighbors. And Genty, I know he was a rookie last year behind a horrible line, but I need to see a little bit more before I'm choosing him to be the foundation rock as my running back. Again, I'm not saying that he doesn't belong to be picked at 2-2 or anything like that, but I personally am not picking Genty as my first running back just based off 1 year of seeing that.
Yeah, and he wasn't – I don't even think he was top 10 his rookie year. It's all based on the hype of what he is, which I am on that hype train, don't get me wrong. But I can understand, the computer, Team 11 computer, did not start out as hot as everybody else. I really, and this is not me just catering to my wife, a win now team, Hurts, St. Brown, and McCaffrey, you can't do much better, in my opinion, first 3 rounds there. But it was really tough for me to actually find a good team that was going to last for a while, if that makes sense. So I think the Burrow, Lamb, Warren that Autumn 1 did, Tino, he did a really nice job to start. Got the 2 premium positions out of the way with a really good wide receiver in the middle. So I like that build up as well.
It's a great call. That was one I was going to be toying with. myself. I do like the way that team's starting to get built. Spoiler alert, it continues to get built pretty decently. So I wanted to give him his flowers a little bit later. But nevertheless, you have to follow up on what he's done so far. I think you nailed it exactly the way you said it. He had the two premium positions taken care of early and out of the way with a fantastic, superior elite wide receiver in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, he had a phenomenal year, and he was hurt. People forget that he was hurt and doesn't have the same numbers as he normally did in CeeDee Lamb, but he had a really good year last year, even with Pickens there. So I have a feeling they're going to do damage again this year. So
fourth round opens up with the premium position of tight end and Tucker Kraft, and followed by the 4-2 at Bruce Hall, and followed by myself again with I wanted to focus on the quarterback position, so I went with Fernando Mendoza. I am a huge fan of the stack. It's no lie. I think that is one of the main reasons that I've been successful in my fantasy days is my stack abilities. I think to have a young stack of a young quarterback and his trusty blanket of tight end, being Brock Bowers, I think is a very sneaky stack that could win me some serious games. We're going to have Brock Bowers catching 8 to 9 catches a game, if not more, all from Mendoza. Mendoza's going to feed him like he feeds a baby.
Now, before we move on, for Mendoza, I feel like most people are going to say that's early. I like Mendoza a lot as well. I don't know if I would have taken him in the 4th round, but was it mainly because of the stack? You didn't think you'd be able to get him later? What was the thought there? Because being in the top 10 quarterbacks, I was kind of surprised at that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's preface this by saying what my approach was for this draft is this would have been one of my umpteenth startup drafts that I've done. And most startup drafts, what individuals do, majority of teams do, is they try to either build for a win now or to be successful now. My focal point was I'm going to be successful when those teams start to crumble, when those teams start to fall apart, that have the McCaffreys, that have the Jonathan Taylors, that have the aging running backs or the aging wide receivers or the quarterbacks or the Matthew Stafford built teams like Puka Nacua. What's he going to do after Matthew Stafford leaves? Who knows? That kind of thing. So I focused on who was going to be success. I wanted to be successful within 2 to 3 years from now rather than be successful this upcoming year. So the way that my team is going to be built from this, the way my team is going to be built. I built it to be successful within 2 to 3 years, focusing mostly on youth and mostly on positions that are going to last, and players in positions that are going to last me several years, such as the Amarian Hamptons in the running back role or the Jackson Darts, and now in this case, Mendoza. So to answer your question, kind of both. The stack was intriguing because I do have Brock Bowers, one who I see building my franchise around and not ever shipping out. So having a Brock Bowers and then having his quarterback, a young upcoming talent that Mendoza is, looked like a good opportunity for me to take.
I love it. And now that I'm looking at your first few pick, or 4 picks at least, not one player has played more than 2 years. Bowers, Hampton, and Dart, all rookies last year. Mendoza, a rookie coming in. So you're definitely looking at that young crop to start. So that makes a lot more sense now.
Thank you. So continuing on, post Mendoza at the 4-4 goes Quinshawn Judkins. At the 4-5 is Chris Olave, followed by Chase Brown at the 4-6. Cardinal Tate at the 4-7. So a good running back, wide receivers flip-flop. And we close in the wide receivers following into Mickey. 4-7 being the Cardinal Tate, 4-8 being Rome Adunze, and 4-9 being our leader, Mickey, having a selection.
Yeah, Devontae Smith. I think it's no surprise to our viewers how much I think Devontae Smith is going to take a step this year. It has never been a question of his talent. It has been either play calling and or A.J. Brown is a massive alpha and Devontae Smith is a quiet person. To be basically blunt about it. when he gets the ball, he does great things with it. He's going to be the number one in an offense that is typically a good. It's typically a good offense. I'm expecting good things out of them this year. Saquon should be back, so that'll help out as well. In my opinion, I think Saquon will be back. I know a lot of people think he's about done, but we'll see. But Smith, again, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, I can't get that out of my head. He is very good wide receiver. And to pair him with London as my top two, I was very excited about. Now, looking back on the draft, and we'll talk about this probably a little bit later, probably should have taken a running back here, not going to lie. But I had Devontae Smith a little bit higher than all the other running backs. I have him, I think, in my top 12 to 14 wide receivers overall. So getting him in the fourth round, I was pretty happy about. Moving on, we had Kenneth Walker at the 410, 411 was Trevion Henderson, and 412 was at Saquon Barkley, aforementioned Saquon Barkley. Starting up with the round 5, A.J. Brown, now not a Eagle and a Patriot. 5-2 was Luther Burden, and 5-3 Jalen Waddle. And then I ended up taking my tight end, where he just got paid, Kyle Pitts. He is going to be an Atlanta Falcon for a few more years. Obviously, this draft happened before he got paid, but he is only 24 years old, I believe, already 4 years in the league, on his second contract already, and I'm very excited with what he's going to be doing in the future. So was very happy to take him in the 5th round. Anything you wanted to say, Jeremy?
No, you have your team shaped up to be a pretty solid team. You have the 2 quarterbacks, you got 2 dominant wide receivers, and now you have arguably one of the best tight ends in the league, best pass catching tight ends in the league. So you're shaping up to be a good position here. The wide receivers are starting to go quick. That's definitely seems to be the ongoing pattern here. Like, we lost, since I picked Mendoza, we lost 7. So, man, wide receivers are definitely starting to go here. And then you shut the door there with Pitts.
Yeah, and honestly, if Waddle was available, I probably would have taken him. Jimmy, our former co-host, sniped me right before my pick, and I was going to be really excited with London Smith and Waddle. I'm just as excited with London Smith and Pitts, though. So still going to find that third wide receiver. Then we had Javier picking Trevor Lawrence. Bucky Irving was the computer pick. At the 5-7 was Harold Fannin. 5-8 T. Higgins. 5-9 Dak Prescott, another quarterback there. And then you are up at 5-10.
5-10, I went with Brian Thomas. I believe the sophomore year was a sophomore slump, and only that. I do believe that he's going to be utilized a little bit more downfield. I think he's going to have himself a little bit better of a year this year. So I went with Brian Thomas, again, keeping in mind with the way that I'm building my team to be successful in a few years. I'm willing to be patient with the Brian Thomas project, knowing what kind of talent he is. I'm willing to see exactly how that develops. After me is 5-11 with Patrick Mahomes. 5-12 is Marv Harrison to close out the 5th round. 6th round starts with Brock Purdy. 6-2 is Rashee Rice from Kansas City. And then I went with Zay Flowers at the 6-3. I was going to pull the trigger on the Rashee Rice, and he fell right before me. So you're not the only one that kind of had that happen to you. Mm-hmm. I am a Rashee Rice truther. I am willing to take the sacrifice on what type of felon, and that's not a joke word, which is crazy, kind of felon that he is. I'm not looking past what kind of actions he's done. I'm looking at what kind of beast on the field he is with Patrick Mahomes. So I would have taken Rashee Rice in that case, but it's enough of Rashee Rice. I went with Zay Flowers, who I think is going to be wide receiver 1 in Baltimore. It's not necessarily the wide receiver university because of the way Mark Andrews has been impacted and the way Lamar Jackson runs with the ball. And then, of course, Derrick Henry's always there. But I do believe Zay Flowers is going to have himself a decent year. I think he is a great piece for me to build around as another wide receiver to my core.
Yeah, so Zay Flowers being, again, I think this is another steal. Zay Flowers being in the 6th round, I feel like that's a little late. Maybe it's just me, but I remember what Zay Flowers did this past year. Yeah, he didn't score many touchdowns, but he was all they had.
Yeah, man.
On the offense. I mean, Andrews is okay, but he's not the Andrews we've known and loved in the past. And he's the only tight end they have now. Derrick Henry's another year older, which Father Time eventually will creep into that, but we never know when. He might be 45, and that finally happens at this point. But and Lamar Jackson, Father Time is kind of creeping it, slowing him down a little bit. So I mean, I think Zay Flowers at the 6th round might be right now your best pick personally.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, Zay Flowers came in with 1,200 yards last year at 86 receptions. So that was averaging about, I don't know, that was over a little 10, I think the sleeper saying here, 10.2 yards per target. So that's insane. And he was getting 14.8 yards per catch. So like he's going to be able to be successful. Mark Andrews is another year older. D-Hop is gone. Not that D-Hop was a target vulture, but, you get it. And nevertheless, I do agree with you that Zay Flowers is going to be successful this year. Following me at Zay Flowers at 6'4" was Josh Jacobs of Green Bay, followed by Jonathan Williams, 6'5". 6'6" was Bo Nix. Say that 10 times fast. 6'7" was Kyron Williams.
I knew you couldn't resist.
I got 2 kids, man. And it's all I hear. 6'7" was Kyron Williams. 6'8" I have Sam Laporta. And then it follows into you at 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9", no surprise. I take my guy from Clemson, Travis Etienne. I'm still getting used to the name. Travis E. Now a Saint. I think he owns that backfield. I think they run the offense through him. Shuck, even though he had a good year last year, is still young. How do you make a young quarterback who really not a lot of people thought was going to be great, could be okay, succeed? You run the ball. So I'm really excited with Travis Etienne. Man, that name change is really getting me. But as my first running back, it could be worse, is how I feel about that. And that's why I said before, I probably, when I picked Devonta Smith, probably should have went for running back there. But knowing how many running backs were still on the board, I was pretty excited about taking him here in the 6th round. Then we had Jameson Williams, wide receiver, went next at 6'10". 6'11" was the rookie, Jadarian Price. 6'12" to round up the 6th round was Dalton Kincaid. 7'1" was Baker Mayfield. DJ Moore was at 7'2", Jared Goff. 7'3", and then I got my rookie that I get everywhere I can possibly get, because I think could end up being the best rookie in this class outside of Love. Casey Concepcion at 7'4", to round out my 3 starting wide receivers. Now, honestly, probably not going to be one of my starting wide receivers. I end up getting a couple other people or another player a little bit later that can fill that void. But I was very excited with getting Casey at the 7th round here, right before another rookie.
No, you get your guys. Even if this is a quote fake startup, man, get your boy. I got Jackson Dart for that reason. You're high on KC. You yourself have got me super hyped to see what KC can do this year. So, get your guy, and definitely I'm definitely on board the Travis Etienne wagon. A, on his name, and B, on him being successful this year. I got 2, if not 3 stocks of him already. I'm a big fan of what he's going to be able to do in New Orleans. I think they're not going to pay him the way that they paid him to bring him in, and have him be second fiddle to Kamara or Neal. I think we have our bell cow back in New Orleans in Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and I think what confuses me so much about the name is that him and Devon Achane actually are said the exact same way, from what I understand, and are spelled. I don't know if there's the same letter. Like, I think both have an E. That's all that's the same. Like that's what's getting me on the name. But I digress. Move on. And another rookie who most people would have picked before Casey Concepcion, Mekhi Lemon at the 7'5", RJ Harvey at 7'6", Cam Scatterbo at the 7-7 and Derrick Henry at the 7-8. So a little run on running backs. Then we go to Christian Watson at 7-9, and you are up, sir, at 7-10.
Another one who I am racking right up there with Travis Etienne is the guy who is his successor in Tootin in Jacksonville. I think Tootin is going to be the bell cow for the most part. I'm not scared of Chris Rodriguez there at all. I think Tootin is going to be a fantastic piece to anybody's dynasty team. He's young, he's agile. He was handpicked by Cohen, and we all know who the last person that followed this exact critique, shadow, player profile, and everything to a T was Bucky Irving. So to have you potentially be the next, quote, Bucky Irving is something that is a good talent to have, especially when you're looking at fantasy players. So I am all in on Tootin this year. Toot, all in, toot. And I am taking him in my startup draft as well, 7-10. Following me is their next rookie hot shot in Jordan Tyson out of New Orleans. He goes at 7-11. And then 7-12 is DeAndre Swift, running back out of Chicago. To begin the 8th round, we have Jordan Addison going at 8-1. And then we have another tight end being taken with Miranda Gadsden out of Los Angeles. And then coming to me at 8-3, I needed one veteran player. I can't have an entire roster of guys who are 23 and younger. I need that anchor. And what better anchor than David M.F. Montgomery? My boy, age 29, 5'11", 230, going into his 8th year out of Iowa State. David Montgomery. Now, enough joke hype around here. I think he is going to be, I know I've said this a few times already, but I think he's going to be the bell cow in Houston. I think Woody Marks is going to be utilized for pass catching purposes only. I think Montgomery is definitely going to be a 3-down back. They have had a horrible offensive line in the past, but they have improved that in the offseason a little bit and throughout the draft as well. I think Montgomery definitely takes majority of the volume in the running back game and could easily eclipse 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, I mean, I know how you feel about those two running backs that you took, so I'm not going to say my piece onto it, and we all know how I feel if you've listened to the podcast at all. Monty, I know you love him. I'm super pumped to see what he does with the Texans, especially with how good the defense is. They're going to be running the ball a lot, I have a feeling, to run the clock out if they're ahead, things like that. So I really like the pick with Monty. But I have to bring up one thing. Jordan Tyson being picked after Mekhi Lemon and Casey Concepcion in most people's eyes is probably ludicrous. But like we say all the time, go get your guy. And obviously my guy was KC. My buddy Javier's guy is Mekhi Lemon. We've talked about him a few times. Jordan Tyson ends up getting taken still in the same round, which is, I think, where most people would agree those three guys should go. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
yeah, that's a fair assumption.
7th round, late 6th, late 6th, I would say the
late 6th, early 8th, yeah. Yep.
Is kind of where those three guys probably are going to go. Maybe not in this order, but for Jordan Tyson to be the last one taken, I was pretty shocked by it because I think everyone agrees he might be the most talented pure receiver in this draft. People are just terrified about his injury history. So
correct.
Another guy with that injury history that you were talking about as wide receiver for this same team in Team 11 that has neighbors, McConkey, Rice, and Tyson. He might not have one wide receiver.
Well, yeah, great call. Right. So after Montgomery is our 8-4 selection, and it is Chuba Hubbard. And we have back-to-back tight ends at the 8-5. We have Brendan Strange, followed by 8-6, Kenyon Sadiq. 8-7, we have Michael Wilson out of Arizona. 8-8, we have another rookie wide receiver in Denzel Boston. And then that follows into our 8-9 selection with Mickey.
So this is really funny that Joe Coleman we're talking about Jonah Coleman in this mock draft, and then I just traded up to get Jonah Coleman in the middle of the, or what, 2-4, I think it was, in our actual draft. More and more I hear things about RJ Harvey and the fact that J.K. Dobbins has never been healthy. The more and more I'm excited for Jonah Coleman. I think RJ Harvey might end up being dropped down to the pass catching back because Coleman is a beast, but he doesn't catch the ball phenomenally. Just another young guy to add. I was a little bit worried him being my number 2 running back already. But we took, not going to lie there. But when you wait this long to take your second running back, this happens. So this is also a nice way to do mocks and see, okay, when is that line crossed? Because the line was crossed for me at Henry, which was the 708 pick.
Yeah, 708.
Was kind of like, okay, I got to take 2 running backs before the end of the 7th round. If I'm doing a starter draft, is kind of how I figured this out now. I love the way my team's built until Jonah Coleman, and I would love for him to be my 3rd running back. But is what it is. Take him at 8-9. I do think he's going to be good. I just don't know how soon in the year he's going to be relevant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, man. I think Coleman's going to be fantastic. I just don't know if I'd like him to be my 2nd running back. A 3rd running back, it would be fine. Even if you had someone like a Monty, somebody who, or even like a Chuba Hubbard, somebody who got drafted just right before him, it would have been something good for you to have at least a little bit more of an anchor in regards to the running back. But no, I'm in agreement with you. I think Coleman has an opportunity that not many people are talking about, or not enough people are talking about because of all the reasons of what you said. Dobbins is tied and toed now that he wants to be running back 1 on a year. And RJ Harvey continues to say that end of last year wasn't his actual skill set and what he can do at the beginning of the year is what he can do. But like, come on, guys, they wouldn't have been drafted Coleman without any type of promise in regards to what they want to do with him. So I like Coleman on your team here. And I like the opportunity that's been given to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, worried about him being the running back 2 right now. But that's why you get good players early to trade and figure the rest of your team out. This does not have to be your starting roster when you do have a starter draft. Do not forget that. You are not drafting for a roster. You're drafting to get the most value out of your players, to be able to trade or do whatever you need to with that. With that being said, before we move on, I forgot to say this at the beginning, but we were not allowed to trade picks in this draft. I wanted to do just a straight draft because I know me, I'm one of the people who like to move around the board a lot to try to find the best value or the players that I wanted to target in this draft, or even if the draft isn't really falling my way, getting out and getting picks for 27 or 28. I know Jimmy's the same way, who was in this draft. I know you're kind of the same way too, right? You like to move around the board, figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, especially in the late rounds when people are really kicking the tires on who to take. That's where I kind of like to swoop in. I got successful one time with Puka Nakua, and now I feel that I can draft in the 4th round anybody. So let me run my game, let me run my false accusations and false hopes. I try to get those late round picks.
Absolutely. But the reason I bring that up is because this is kind of the spot where if someone's willing to trade me, and really, I would say even like the 5th round or later, if someone's willing to trade into that and give me some capital to drop a little bit, I'm okay. Because a lot of these players are about the same in these 3 to 4 rounds, in my opinion. So that's kind of what I look at as well. Or if I can package a couple of these picks, like the 6th and the 8th or something like that, and move up into the 2nd or 3rd round. Those are things that I look to do. How about you? Any pointers, since we're at kind of like a stopping point?
No, I think just to reiterate what we said is to get your guy. Like, I mean, Dynasty's supposed to be fun after all. And if you have certain players that you're cheering on the field in quote real life. It's fun to have them on your dynasty team. So don't necessarily worry about ADP or anything like that. Like it gets who you feel is going to be great in the position that you want to be given. Like Tootin, for example. I'm a big fan of Tootin, but was it hard for me to draft Tootin over a Tyson or over a Boston, who I'm a big fan of? Yeah, it was, but I needed some running back depth, and I only had Amari Hampton at the time, and I had my eyes on Monty, and I knew I needed a little bit of youth there. So, but I just want to reiterate to get your guys, because that's ultimately what makes this the most interesting, and that's what keeps you the most invested, is having guys that you want to keep a part of your team and guys you want to be able to build your franchise around.
I love it. Couldn't say it better myself. Absolutely. And we're just going to finish up the 8th round here and then head out. So the 8-10 after my Jonah Coleman pick was Alec Pierce. Jordan Love, another quarterback, goes at 8-11. And then to round out the 8th round, Wan'Dale Robinson at 8-12. So looking at these teams, we're not going to go through all the names or anything like that, but we can both see the board. Who did you think? We're going to ask basically the same question as the first three round question. Who do you think had a really good build, and who do you think needs a little bit of work?
Team 11 with the wide receiver aspect is definitely an issue. I really like what Team 9 has began to do. I like the way that they began to build. We touched base on them. You touched base on them real quick with Burrow, Lamb, and Warren. But then I think they've really hit it out of the park with the way that they've continued with the draft. To recap our listeners, it's Burrow, Lamb, Warden, followed by Judkins, Prescott, Jacobs, Watson, Hubbard. I'm not running out and buying Hubbard's jersey, but I do think that people are sleeping on Hubbard big time this year. I think he had an injury plague last year, and they had Dowdle running all up and down the field. Dowdle's gone. I know Jonathan Brooks is there. They're going to ease Jonathan Brooks into this. But the last time they tried to shove him violently into the game plan, he tore his ACL again. I think everyone's sleeping on Chuba Hubbard. So him having Chuba Hubbard here as his third running back is saying something. Jacobs, it seems like it was a pebble on a droplet of water on the issue with him and his spouse or his girlfriend or whatever it was. It seems like wheels are up in business as usual in Jacobs camp. And Judkins, I'm a huge fan of as well. So to build his running backs around that. And then they have a gunslinger in Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's one of the biggest gunslingers in the league with the superior weapons in Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. And he has Prescott as his quarterback too, behind Joe Burrow, and he's sitting here at round 8. I think he's doing doing very well. He has arguably wide receiver 1 in the league and CeeDee Lamb as his wide receiver, and then he has arguably wide receiver 1 on Green Bay Packers and Christian Watson. So I think he has himself a well-balanced team of youth, of talent, of skill set, and I think he's taking care of each position correctly.
Yeah, and with that, I think Honey Badger, your buddy, had a really good draft. The only one that I question is I just don't believe in Igbuka like everybody else. But he has Drake May, Justin Jefferson, who I've already talked about Jefferson, where I think he should have been in this draft. Then you have Chase Brown in the 4th, Harold Fannin in the 5th, which I love. Bo Nix is your second quarterback, which is great in the 6th. Cam Scatterbo, who for some reason people forget that he had an incredible beginning to his career because he got injured, but at the 7th round. And then my tight end love, I guess you could say, in this rookie draft here this year, Kenyon Sadiq. I love this build. You have two quarterbacks that can throw and run. I would say you have in my opinion, top 5 tight end. Arguably, again, I actually have him ranked number 1 wide receiver personally, Justin Jefferson. So that helps getting him in the 2nd round. And then Chase Brown, everyone in Cam Scatterbo, they both kind of get thrown to the wayside, but they've just produced, especially Chase Brown in his position as well. So I love this build. I think he probably had the best draft so far. Normally, when I look at who has the best draft, I look at who are your quarterbacks, who is your tight end if it's a tight end premium, And then where did you find the value? And I feel like Scattergood's a value, Jefferson's a value, and Fannin is a little bit of a value, not as much as the other ones, but I love this start.
It just did it better. I like it as well.
Yeah, so don't tell him I said that because he'll be all happy. And we don't want people to be happy. Just kidding. I'm sure he'll listen. So you are welcome there, Badger. So we're going to stop here. We're going to pick up and do the last 12 rounds, I guess, or as far as we can get. I think we can get through 12.
Yeah, we got through 12.
Next week. So make sure you tune in there. This is where you win your draft. It is the second half. These are maybe not your starters, but these are the players who are going to come in when your starter gets hurt, when you have bye weeks, when something crazy happens. You're going to always need these guys, especially 11 to 15 is how you win your league, in my opinion. Because everyone's first 8 picks-ish are pretty even, and that's why it took us so much time to try to figure out who had the best draft, right? I thought my draft was pretty good until 8. If we would have went 7, I would have been ecstatic. And I thought your draft was good as well, especially getting your guys. So pretty much everyone's clear, even across the board. Next week is why you want to tune in. Next week is when you really see the differences. Okay, if this guy goes down because he's injury prone, who can you fill in? And that's where you win your league, in my opinion, like I said before. So make sure you tune into that. But Jeremy, you got anything else?
No, man, I think this has been a fun episode so far. I think we've really covered a different approach to a draft here. And you're right. I'm looking forward to seeing how the later rounds develop these teams. Perfect.
So for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty and Mountaintops. Check us out on Podbean, YouTube, and Apple. Our socials at dynastymttops on Blue Sky and X. And email us dynastymttops@gmail.com for any comments, show ideas. What do you think about the first eight rounds? Who do you think has the best draft? Who do you think has the worst draft? Probably me, I'm sure. Again, for Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty of the Mountaintops. We will talk to you next week about the second half of the mock draft.
Thanks a lot, guys.